started my career at the Central Bank and the Ministry of Finance in Denmark before I joined ATP in 99. After ATP, I worked as a CEO in a troubled Danish bank that was close to bankruptcy after the financial crisis, before moving to Canada and taking the role as Global Chief Investment Officer at Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, heading a investment group of 340 people there, based in Toronto, London, and Hong Kong. In one of the first weeks after I started at ATP, I started working with sustainable investment. We didn't use that name at the time. I think our policy was two lines, and it was called an ethical investment policy. But in the same week, an OECD report came out talking about corporate governance and good governance in companies. And at the time, ATP owned 17% of the Danish equity market, and we couldn't really vote with our feet and felt the responsibility to be an active and engaged owner. So we decided to take the lead and formulate our own policy for good governance and start engaging with companies and being an active owner early on in 99. And in the years after, we formed a responsible investment committee, and I chaired that one, and Frederick was part of it as well. What we learned in the years in the beginning was, if you don't have a robust and clear fact-based policy on how you are going to act in this space, the media will make it hard for you to figure out what to think. And I saw that with a lot of pension plans. So we decided to start working on formulating a responsible investment policy in the early zeros. That resulted in us working with sweatshops in Asia or mining companies in Irian Jaya, or working on exclusion policies. I think what we realized after having tried to go down the exclusion route at the time was really that engagement seems to be a better option if there is a chance it will have a positive outcome. So we started working on that, included environment, included human rights, so all the S part of our policy. And it wasn't really until, I think, 2009, we really started talking about how to integrate climate considerations in our portfolio construction. When I'm thinking back of the journey, I think the first long stretch working with sustainable investments was really a question of trying to figure out who to exclude, who to engage with, and really how to deal with all the difficult companies in the portfolio. I think it was not before I had a trip to Chile working for Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, where I realized that the upside in investment from not only avoiding the problematic companies and working with them, but actually choosing to work with and invest in the winners or the best companies had a huge upside. We had a water company in Chile that needed to invest a lot, so we fixed the pipelines. There was a lot of water leakage in Chile. We started building a reservoir so we could store water for dry seasons or dry years. And we built a very expensive wastewater treatment facility in Chile. We probably overinvested, but the outcome or the return of that investment turned out to be colossal, in the sense that even the president in Chile noticed how well we were doing and how many public benefits there was to our investments. I was so honored to have a lunch with her in Toronto, where she requested talking to us about this and said, if you knew how important you have been to Chile in showing that foreign investments can actually improve the living for the local people, you wouldn't believe how important it is. And what we realized afterwards was we started to win tender offers in Chile. We started to be allowed to build bigger plants and invest more. So our water business in Chile became very, very profitable. And I really realized that if you behave as a good corporate citizen, think about creating societal value, work with the regulators, treat your employees in the best possible way, and the customers as well, you will get it all back manifold later on. So that was really where the idea, if we look for the best companies, the most sustainable companies that run strong business models, this must be a winning strategy. And this is really what we're doing at Qblue, the basis for our whole approach to investing in strong companies with strong cash flows and strong management, but also strong sustainability.